So it looks like the technology is working again.
Right.
Or what?
You just said garbled.
Garbled? How about now?
Better.
Okay, I changed the setting.
Okay.
So hopefully, maybe on yours you need to do the same thing, Dennis, because we've had that problem. And that is under settings, under audio, change it to studio.
Okay.
Because when you tell me there's a problem and I change it to studio, it seems to work. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Today is December what? What is it in California?
3rd.
December 3rd, right. And how's the weather there?
Nice.
Low 70s, wow. It was about 38 here. Huh, okay. Let's see.
75 degrees.
75 degrees?
Yes.
It's 49 in Henderson.
Wow.
Is it cold outside still?
No, it's getting warm.
It's getting warm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not cold enough for a jacket.
Yeah, but you have how many shirts on?
One.
You have your long john
Thermal.
shirt, your thermal? Sort of, if you have a thermal on, the idea is
Yeah.
you don't really need a jacket, right?
Right. Exactly.
I think I wore a thermal all year round when
Did
I
you?
was at camp.
Okay.
Just the shirt, not the pants.
Right.
Okay, so today we are going to finish with calendars. Let's just go around, starting with, in California, maybe one thing about calendars that people want to bring up. Was there a, or let's say a question. Does anybody, what's a question anybody has in California about calendars?
Sorry.
Everybody's an expert on calendars? So here, let's go to calendar, everyone. Okay, so let's ask the question, how do you share a calendar? Deanna, since you looked up first.
You enter them in the share.
Okay, so
You
let's
enter
walk
their
me through it.
email.
Walk me through it.
You add guests, add them to your guests.
Yes. On a calendar?
Yes.
Where's that?
When you're creating an event.
Okay, but that would be sharing an event, so that's
Wow.
that's good. That would be inviting people to an event. But what I'm asking is, how do we share a calendar? Okay, Marty, you look down first.
Under, my calendar.
Okay, so I'll give you a hint. You start with the calendar you want to share. Yeah. Okay, start with the calendar you want to share. Then what?
And then go to the bottom and type an email address and click that to share.
Okay, close, but no, not exactly right. So I want to share the whole calendar. That means anytime I put something on the calendar, the people I share it with are going to see it. So let's say we had a boxing team. And we had a calendar for boxing. We wanted to know what are the days we have practice, where's practice, that type of thing. And that whenever we put it on the calendar, everyone can see it. Okay, Deanna.
Okay, you go to your name or what calendar you want, you click the arrow on the right hand side and then you go down to the account.
On the
Right. That's right. So you go to the calendar you want, you hover over it, then the down arrow will point up, will pop up. You click on that, And then it says one of your choices is what? What's one of your choices, Mike, when you get to here? Share.
Share.
Right. One of the choices is share this calendar. So what do we need to do to share it? We click on share, right? And then usually you don't want to make a calendar public, but when would you want to make it public?
When you're inviting people.
No. When would you want to share a calendar with the whole world? Make it a public calendar. Ever? Ever? What about in California? When would you want to do it in California? Ever? Never? Okay. What if you wanted to have your calendar on your website?
When you want to share something or Google Plus.
Okay. So the most common reason would be you have a calendar on your website. You have a website at work and you have a calendar, you want people to see a calendar on there, you have to share it with the whole world. Okay? Make it a public calendar. Okay? But usually you share it with people. So you share it with people on your team. Okay? So we have some shared calendars. We have LT, Las Vegas campus, and that has our daily schedule on it, right? Right? Yeah, okay, good. Just checking. At work, when you go to work, if you're talking to them, and you should write this in your book, shared calendars on your Google Calendar page. One shared calendar would be birthdays and holidays. A lot of companies like to celebrate people's birthdays, right? Okay. Here at Larson Training Centers, we consider everyone's birthday the most important holiday of the year, or the most important day of the year, because that's the day you were born. And so, let's see, Sean is here, so he could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our policy here is you get paid an extra day on your birthday. If you go to work, you get paid for going to work and because it's your birthday. If you don't work that day, you get paid because it's your birthday. So it's either a paid vacation or double pay. So companies like to celebrate birthdays. So one shared calendar you'd have at work is birthdays. And it could be birthdays and holidays. Now another calendar would be what? Sick days. If you're not going to be at work, at Larson, what we do, if you're not going to be at work, you fill out a form, right? If you're not going to be at school, right, Phyllis? If you're not going to be at school, you fill out a form. You fill out the scheduled absence form. Those get added onto a calendar. Why would we want to do that?
Keep track.
Well, but it's on the form. We have a spreadsheet. Why would we want to put it on a calendar?
Before you want to forget. Previous, future.
Okay, but it's on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Why would we want to put it on a calendar? What do we really fundamentally like about calendars?
To remind us of when you
Keep record.
Okay, but why do we use a calendar? The key word is calendar.
for time.
Just keep it.
What is it about calendars that people like? It's easy to see the month at a glance, right? Because of the way it's organized, right? You have weeks and you have days. When you have a spreadsheet, you just have lines going across. And if you see a day on there, it says December 4th on a spreadsheet, now what? You got to figure out in your mind, you create a picture in your mind of, well, where is December 4th? What day of the week is that? But on a calendar, we make it very easy because if you have stuff like this, these are things happening here, it's easy to follow, right? Right or no?
Yeah.
Is my brain the only brain that works this way?
No.
And the rest of the world, the other 7 billion people? So calendars, we fundamentally use calendars because you can see something at a glance and it makes sense. We can see the week and we can see the day that something happens. So if it says Loretha's birthday right here, and this is Thursday. If this says Loretha's birthday, it makes it easy for me to see that, and it makes it easier to remember it than if it's just a line on a spreadsheet. It's what is, does anybody remember the Baker-Baker paradigm? Joshua 4, does that have any? We saw it in here. We saw the TED Talk here. I remember we saw it here. Baker-Baker paradigm. Does anybody remember anything about nude people on bicycles?
Britney Spears on the table.
Cookie Monster?
Little.
Yeah, your house?
Kids grabbing the cookies or something.
Yeah, the memory palace.
No, it's great.
Okay. So having a the fundamental reason we use calendars the way we do is because it's easy to remember. And what's the point of recording a date if you're not going to remember it? Okay, so we've got to think in terms of what calendars are important at work. So one is birthday and holiday calendar. Another one is sick day calendar. So what we do is you have your form, you fill out, that goes to a spreadsheet. We can transpose it from a spreadsheet into a calendar that looks like this. Then we can look at the whole month and see what days people were absent. And what if we find that it looks like this? Every X is a person. People are saying they're sick, and that's what the calendar looks like. What would that tell us? Mike, what does that tell us?
That they don't be at work.
Yeah, that everybody calls in sick on Friday. Really? Everybody gets sick on Friday?
Payday.
Okay. Okay, so now we have a new policy. You have to come and get your check. And you can, if you come to work, we hand it to you. If you don't, you have to stand in line. And it's just a really, really long line. So you might as well come to work.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So that's the fundamental purpose of calendars. Our brains are designed to be able to do maps, to follow maps, because it was important for survival when we were cavemen, right? You needed to know, how do I get back to where I started? Where's the cave? And so we would picture in our brain, okay, well, it's the third ridge, and there's this big tree, and there's a rock near the tree, and that's where our cave is. And then we're able to draw them, and then we write them down, and the same thing happened with calendars. So sharing calendars is very important. Now, how do we share an event? Create. Okay, so let's go back to our calendar and pick a day, right? Let's say this morning or this afternoon at 4.
Click on the day and time you want the other day.
Okay. And then what?
And enter.
You edit event, right? We edit the event. And then where is the part where we share the event? Let's just talk about that. Where do we share the event on this calendar?
Add guests.
Add guests. So this is a very important thing. If you don't get this, you need to go back and make it very clear. And instead of saying to yourself, this is hard, I don't get it, say, this is designed for a fourth grader. And so if a fourth grader can do it, I can do it. If you tell your brain you can't do something, your brain is going to follow directions from you. It's going to make sure to make it hard for you to do it. That's why growth mindset is so important, is to use the word yet. I don't understand how to do this yet. What are you telling your brain when you add the word yet? Mike?
You prepare yourself to learn, to go forward.
You're saying to your brain, I need to learn this, I just don't know it now. But I need to learn this. I don't know it yet. So so here, is anybody here not clear on how to create an event? Okay, watch this. Okay, Jesus, how do I create an event on the calendar? It's easy. You guys say to yourself, it's very easy. Deanna just said what to do. You go to your calendar. Well, that's one way to do it. You go to you're saying you go to the calendar and you just click anywhere. You can click anywhere.
Yeah.
Hit edit event, and then you just fill it in. You just type in the day you want right here, or you click in there and a map comes up, and you can pick a day. And then you do that. So that's one way to do it. What's this create button here for? Okay, so if you just push the create, it's the same thing as clicking anywhere on the calendar. Watch, I'll click just right over here. Edit event. Versus, I just click on the red create button and it takes me there. Same place. I fill in the date and time and go from there. That's an easy way to do it. That's the easiest way to create an event. There's probably nothing easier than that. Now, what's this down arrow for next to the create button?
Quick at it.
Okay, so click on it. What happens when you click on it, Larissa?
When you click on what? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You can
Right here.
Okay, Phyllis, do you have added Larson training centers in California to that? Okay, good. What do you do, Larissa?
Okay, what happens when you go to create, you said?
Yeah, create that little arrow. See that little arrow? No, just click on that little arrow. See that little arrow right there?
I say quick add.
Okay. So what do?
You add whoever you want to add to it.
Real quick.
Okay, so what does that mean?
You put whoever name you go put in, and it
I
adds.
just put in somebody's name, I just type in Larissa.
Yeah.
Now what?
Then I'm gonna get that add. I'm gonna get it in there, right?
Again, if you push on that, it says quick add underneath. It says example.
Example, then with Michael. 7
Okay.
p.m.
So I would type in whatever it was with Larissa. Lunch with Larissa at 12 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And what day? Tomorrow, next Friday.
And it says it right up underneath.
You said you type in the date, so you're gonna.
Well, you would say this, so I'm on quick add. So I say lunch with Sterling today. Okay, now I didn't put in the time, so it came up here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back and say lunch with Sterling today at noon. Okay, so it says it added it right there. Okay, so it added it right there. Okay, so let's have everybody do this.
What did it add at?
Let's do this.
So it just,
Okay, let's do this. Click on the down arrow next to create, it says quick add. And type in wish director happy birthday on September 10th. Wish director happy birthday on September 10th. Okay. Now, how do we know if it's on there?
Oh, we added first, right?
So you go to jump to date,
What day you say your birthday?
September 10th.
No, we added first.
September 10th.
Then we come over here.
Jump today.
This is the fastest way to get there.
Jump, okay. Where's jump on there? Right here. Happy birthday, September 10th.
Okay? Well, you got to go to September 10th. You can't look on today's. Who found it there? Okay. How about you, Marty?
Yep.
Mike? Mike?
Yep.
Okay. So that means next September 10th, I expect to get happy birthday wishes from everybody here. See how cool that is?
and Michael's birthday's on the 8th. Right?
Okay, so that is a very cool thing. We don't do that now because it's just too hard, too much work to do with any other thing that's not a calendar like this. These are the things that we have to start doing. Okay, so now how do we get back to today?
You get today.
You get today.
Click on today.
Right, you click on today. And that brings you back to where? Today. If you look at your calendar, maybe in California you can answer this. If you look at today's calendar, like I have on the screen, how do I know what time it is?
The bottom right hand corner.
Bottom? No. I'm looking at on the calendar. How do I know what time it is by looking at the calendar?
Got that red mark.
Right. There's a red line that shows you what it is. And you'll see that the hours before now are grayed out, or they're kind of filtered out. You notice here how that green is a different color than this green? So anything that is lighter means it's in the past. What's the value of that, Marty? Huh? What's the value of having something lighter and darker, even though they're the same color green? Okay, who wants to help Marty out? Jesus. I know you know. Can't fool me. Okay, what does it mean when it's grayed out, lighter? It's in the past, right? So why did they do that? Why did they do that?
So you can go back and check it out if you miss
No, good thought, but no, that's not why they grade out. They grade out in order to make it
easier.
easier to what?
So you know that it's already over and you keep you in the present.
Easier to know where you are right now in the present. Exactly. I can look at this calendar and somebody from 20 feet away, from where you guys are in the back, from where the drawing is in the back, and she could tell me this is where we are. In this whole week, all of these times, this is where we are right now. They do it to make it easy. So Google has, beyond just being functional, calendar that works, because where was that calendar that Keith, do you have one of those calendars on your desk that Keith used to have?
No.
Do you have what happened to the IAC cards?
These ones?
No, the ones that we did the letters for.
Empty. With the
What did I do?
on the folder, the letters.
See, I haven't seen them before. Maybe I'll look again. Okay, so they're in the folder?
They were on top of the folder.
Okay, so so the calendar shows us by different colors where we are in terms of the day, day and time of the week. Now, what is that stuff up above the calendar? What is this stuff here? It doesn't have a time. What are those things?
List all of those that
Those are your
list
events.
all of them in order throughout the day.
Up here.
Yeah.
So at your calendar, if you're looking at your calendar and you scroll all the way up to where it says 12 a.m., above that, there are some boxes. What are those?
Put somebody's birthday.
Okay. Those are events. But why are they up there? Because there's no time assigned to them. So if I go up here to TED Talks on Monday, I open that up, I'll see that the box that says all day is checked. There's not a specific time. And so that's a good way to do reminders. So on the Anson Alexander calendar tutorial, one of the things he says that to do is you can use that for things like if you have to make car payments or pay your rent or do things like that, is you put them on your calendar up in this section up here. Or again, you can create an event and just check all day, and the day you need to do it, car payment, and then you pick the day. Let's say it's the 15th. And then the next question is it the 15th of every month? So I could repeat that and say, yes, I'm going to repeat that every 4 weeks. No, I'm going to do it every month, monthly. Every month for a particular day of the month. And it starts on, what day of the month do I want this to be on and how long do I want to do it? Well, I could say, well, I've got 36 car payments to make. So after 35 car payments, done. And then I hit done. So it tells me, so every day I get up, I look at my calendar first thing, I go to the top, and I see what are the things I need to get done today, just the routine things. Then you get very organized and you don't forget anything. And how do you think you're viewed at work if you don't forget?
It's a good employee.
Yeah. You're viewed as a really, not a good employee, a great employee. Because everybody who doesn't do this is going to forget something. or they're just not going to do very much. Because there's a finite amount of things that we can remember without having some tool, some aid. And once you start doing this, the problem is it gets very frustrating to do it some other way. So for example, last night I'm at the Italian American Club, the monthly meeting, people come up and say, I'm not getting the weekly email ciao tutti. Well, what would I ideally like to do?
Go to the calendar.
Calendar or the form, some way, just enter them in right now, boom, okay, you're done. Okay, but I couldn't do that. So now what are my choices? Somebody says, I'm not getting the email, the weekly email blast. I can't enter it into a computer anywhere.
Put it on your phone.
I can't enter it on my phone and computer.
Why did that?
Okay, so I could write it down, or I could say to myself, I'm going to remember this, I'm going to remember this, I'm going to remember this, which is what most of us do, but we don't do this. We just say, okay, I'm going to remember, and then we do what?
Forget.
We forget. Okay, so we have to break that down. So I have those little index cards. So I said, oh, boom, write it down on here. So the person wrote it down on the index card. Now what?
Hopefully you remember and bring it in with you to do
Yeah, what did I do?
to put it on the computer.
I forgot to bring it
Oh,
in,
you forgot? Oh, wow.
okay? Because once you get used to doing this, you're not good at doing things the hard way anymore. It's just like once you get used to Google Maps, if somebody says, here's a map, here's a paper map, you do directions, I promise you, mentally you're going to say, oh man, this is stupid. This is stupid using this map. Why would anybody use a map? And they say, well, because we don't have any internet access here. The GPS doesn't work. You have no choice. So this is the thing to do, because once you do it, you don't have to remember stuff. You can focus on being productive. But you have to be prepared that when you can't do this, it's going to be very frustrating. Because now you have to, okay, great, so I got to write it down on a piece of paper. I'll have you write it down because I don't want to take the time to write it down. I'm going to put it in my pocket. And then when I get home, I got to take it out of my pocket and put it somewhere because my shirt might go in the laundry. So I don't want this piece of paper to go to laundry, so I got to remember to put it there. And then the next day, I got to remember to pick up that piece of paper and bring it in. And then after I do that, just because I bring it into school, it doesn't mean it's on the computer, right?
Yeah, make it sidetracked.
Yeah. And I always have to remember, where's that piece of paper? And if time goes by and I didn't write on the piece of paper, here's what this email address is. So I come back a week later and I just have a piece of paper with a name and an email address on it. Now I have to remember, what is this? Yeah, what is this for? Why did the person write this down? And you're not going to want to have to do that. So you just have to be prepared that when you adopt this system and you get very productive, you have to be prepared that sometimes you don't get to do this. Okay? So the calendar shortcut is to put things that you need to do up here. Now, what are tasks? Did anybody see anything or read anything about tasks?
I see it over there.
Over where?
My,
What?
oh,
Where?
my calendars says tasks.
On your calendars on the left?
I mean, mine or mine. It's tasks.
But then why would it
Right.
say lobby? I mean, why would it say test on the right on that side and then say list? A list.
Where does it say tasks on the
What
right?
on my on what I'm at?
So instead of doing this up here, Google created a thing that if you click on where it says calendar in the upper left, if you click on that, I might have mine turned off, but that's how you get to tasks. I think it's thinking right. Okay, so what? So we probably have it turned off if you don't get there, but there is a task thing like a to-do list.
Yeah, that's what mine.
Okay, so you don't want to do that because that is now, you have to now remember to do something else as opposed to just look at your calendar. Your calendar does everything you need to do, you know, everything you need to know. What happens if we change the view to agenda? What happens if we do that? Okay. And so what is that? How does that work?
Everything we do every hour.
Yeah, so it's just another way to look at the calendar. Some people like this more. I like it more, but it's just, you know, I don't want to change how I do things. But a lot of people like this because it says, okay, 7:40 to 7:50, doors open, it's at 8:10 to 8:50, head talk, 9 o'clock, all of this stuff. In the next column, it has things that you can click on or it has details. So a lot of people like this view better because it's easy for them to see the time. What am I doing today at 11? Phyllis, how's it coming? Almost. Okay. Dennis, can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is the new issue
Oh,
of Chow Tutti. It just came in yesterday.
nice.
So we're sending you a box of these.
Okay.
And the magazine has come a long way. And we just started. So we're going to send you a box of those. We're able to do this because we have a calendar.
Okay. And then also, they still request, remember this.
What?
Your book.
Oh, yeah, the book. Phyllis, the book. We need to put that on the calendar.
Right.
How many have you printed?
60
That's it?
so far.
Okay. So, yes, we're going to do the 2016 book. Do you have any books in California?
I guess that we have, but your book,
Yeah. Remember this? How many do you have?
not only one book. I have they like one or two around that.
Okay, you only have a couple. How many do we have here? Who got a book?
What got memorization?
Yeah.
I got one.
Okay.
I have my comments.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you haven't. Tomorrow's the day. Yeah.
Do what? A book?
Yeah.
For what?
Didn't you just say you don't have a book?
I don't even know what I was talking about.
All right. Tomorrow is the day you'll know. Huh? You'll find out tomorrow. Okay. So, who has anything else on calendar that they want to talk about? Yeah.
Okay, when you were going over the,
Let's just go.
so the event you created and
How about you, Joe? Right. Yeah.
Okay, what are the key things on calendar? The key things about the calendar are to be able to share calendars and share events. Those are the two, well, there's actually a third thing, multiple calendars. Okay.
Yeah.
So, number one thing to know, write down multiple calendars. So in Google, you can have hundreds, dozens, hundreds of calendars, and you can look at one, some, or all of them at the same time. Think of it as pieces of glass that are stacked up on top of one another, and you can look through them and see things on different calendars. That enables you to have many calendars. Well, having many calendars enables you to break it down into different things like holidays, family, friends, work, school. You can have all of those calendars. You can look at them all at once, or you can turn some off. The second important thing is to be able to share calendars, because it doesn't make sense to have multiple calendars if you can't share them. So, for example, I have my calendar, me, then I have a birthday calendar, and I share that with other people at work, and they can all see this calendar, but they can't see my calendar unless I share it with them. And then I might have another calendar here that is sick days, okay? And people, this person, X, could be on that, and other people are all part of this sick count. All the other employees are part of that. I could have a calendar where I have a restaurant. So I have a restaurant, and I could have a calendar that is parties. And then I share that with vendors who help us with the parties, or waiters who want to work parties, want to work banquets. I share that calendar with them. I can have a calendar for holidays, vacation days. I could have a special calendar for best customers. So this would be a cool thing. If you're one of our best customers, I'm going to share this calendar with you. And what do you think is going to be on that calendar? Days to come to the restaurant that we have specials. So you can plan your time around that. And you just randomly throw out, okay, next Thursday, let's have free dessert. 2 Fridays from now, or 2 Wednesdays from now, let's have free appetizer. This day, let's have free Caesar salad. Right? You share the calendar with people who are members of your group. They look at the calendar every day. They're thinking, where should we go to dinner? Oh, free dessert. I love dessert. Let's go there. Or, hey, we're having clam chowder. We're having fish and chips. You put it on the calendar, and you share that calendar with people, and you get them in the habit of looking at the calendar. They're going to go there. Okay, we've got 1 minute. So the last thing I want to talk about is colors. Now, Anson Alexander says you got to be very careful with colors, because you can change the colors of your calendars. I think it's important to use colored calendars where you will have used like red, yellow, and black for things that are bad, that you don't want to do. So if you share an event and it's on a calendar that's, so let's say I change this to red. Okay, now I see how my calendar changed? See how this changed, and now there's all these red boxes on there? That makes it easy for me to see, but it could be things that I don't like to do. What you have to be careful about is when you change the color, there could be another calendar with that color. So you have to make sure if you change a calendar, say to red, you need to find any other calendars that were red and change them to what? Not red.
Yeah.
To some other color, because otherwise you're going to get what? Confused, right? Because you're going to see a red box on there and you're going to think, oh, that's this, but no, it's not that. It's just that you have the same color for two different calendars. Okay, so it's break time. After we take our break, we'll come back and finish the job at hand. So these will get picked up tomorrow. Okay. Dennis, any questions in California? Anything we can help you with?
Good.
Okay.
So, and next week,